Today we have another car for review. It's an interesting model. It's a city car actually. It's the Dacia Spring, manufactured in 2022. It's electric with 45 horsepower and a small battery of 25 kWh net. As I said, today we have a small city car for a review. It's a Dacia Spring from 2022 with around 10,000 kilometers on the clock. It's an electric car with a small 45 brake horsepower engine, motor actually, with almost 27 kilowatts hour gross capacity battery and around 25 kilowatts hour net capacity. The performance figures are not something to brag about. Obviously, it's a city car. It does manage to get up to 125 kilometers per hour. That's the top speed. And the acceleration figure from 0 to 100, it's more than 19 seconds. Not that you're gonna do something like this very often with this model. The strong points actually are the weight, because it's something like a ton in weight, and although it does have a small battery, you can manage to get up to 100 kilometers in winter time when you need to heat up the cabin, or to about 150-160 kilometers during the summer while using the air conditioning. In terms of the luggage space, even though it's a small city car, it does have an alright size trunk. As you can see, we have the usual carry-on luggage here, and I think you can stretch to about 3 or 4 carry-on luggages like this one back here. Other than that, we don't really have anything else to say. Maybe if you have a look under the boot floor, you can see we do have a bit more space and actually a spare tire, which is nice. Now we're gonna check out the back door, because yeah, it does have 4 doors, even though it's quite a small car. In this price range, obviously the materials are gonna be the same front and back. They're hard plastics, but at least they did try to cheer it up a bit with some switch of materials and colors. And also we do have the electric windows here on the back. Other than that, inside the car there's nothing much to talk about, except from some pockets on the front seats. This is the space here in the back. I am amazed actually that I can fit inside here. Even though the opening of the door and the door itself is pretty small, and it's a bit cumbersome to get inside the car. But at least, yeah, I have some knee room, like 2 fingers with the front seat in line with the B-pillar. If I put the seat for my driving condition, as you can see here on the left side, there's really not much legroom left. And also on my head, I do have about 2 fingers for the ceiling, and being quite a narrow car, the ceiling actually protrudes into my headspace quite a bit, and it might get a bit uncomfortable if you're going on a rough patch. But other than that, yeah, there's not much to talk about. The seat itself, the seat bench, it's quite low and not long enough for my knees. I do have my knees quite high actually. At least I can stretch my legs under the front seat. That's an interesting aspect, but other than that, yeah, small roads, small drives only back here. As for the front door card, As I said, we have exactly the same materials as in the back, with the same decor element, but other than that there's nothing much else to talk about. You do get a bit of storage space here in the front, but weirdly you don't have the command for the power window here in the front. You have it on the center console, and also the seats are quite basic. There's not much adjustment, but you do have enough space to fit a couple of adults here in front and another one in the back. As you can see, I do have something like 1 finger of space between my legs and the dashboard, which is hard plastic. Nothing unexpected at this point, as this price point, but yeah, at least the glove box is nice and large. And now let's check out the driver's side. Obviously the door card is exactly the same one as the one from the passenger side. As it is the seat, it doesn't have any more adjustments. On the left side of the steering wheel we do get some controls for the electric outside mirrors, the possibility of turning off the rear windows, the parking sensors, and also the height of the headlights can be adjusted from here. If you take a seat inside the car, being such a small car, obviously you don't get lots of space, but for a city car it's actually pretty alright. The only thing is, being such a narrow car, actually I sit with my hand almost on the B pillar of the car. But other than that, it's alright for the price point, as I said. The steering wheel, it's pretty usual. I mean, it's not large, it's not small, it's alright. It does have some physical buttons for the cruise control and some voice commands, whatever. Behind the steering wheel you get some stocks, usual stocks, and the gauge cluster. It's an interesting choice. It does have some colors. On the left side you can see sort of a power meter. I'm sorry about that, my allergies are starting to act up. As I said, you do have something like a power meter. It shows you the amount of power, yeah, from the engine, from the motor, and also it shows you if it's regenerative braking, if it's charging the battery. On the right side you have the battery level and the possibility of knowing if you are in drive or reverse or in neutral. Those are your choices. And the small info display, this shows you the outside temperature, the speed, your mileage, the percentage of the remaining battery, and also the estimated range. Going through the center console, we do have a small infotainment display, which does have connectivity with your phone. It does have built-in navigation, so it's alright for the price point, as I have said enough times by now. Underneath we have the controls for the electric windows from the front side, the possibility of locking the doors from the inside, the what's the name for this? Hazard lights, and the eco mode of the car. Underneath those controls you have the climate unit. Actually it's just a regular air conditioner. And then we have some additional buttons for the stability control and also the speed limiter with a 12-volt outlet. Some storage space. This one is actually brought by the owner. The car usually comes like this. Then you have the so-called gear selector for the drive and the reverse, the manual handbrake, and the central armrest that's again bought by the owner. The mirror, it's classic, it doesn't dim, and you also have some lights in the ceiling with the SOS button. And now you've joined me at the driving part of the review. It's a bit unusual, this one, because being a city car, obviously it's not gonna be ideal for long trips, so I'm not gonna take it out on the highway. And also we have a different route, so we'll see what we can do with the car. Firstly, I'm gonna talk about the quirks and unusual things that you'll encounter with this model. Being such a small car, as I said, you don't have enough room for your I don't know, your shoulders, mainly your elbows as well. You have to sit quite tight inside the car. Also for your legs there's not nearly enough space, but I mean, you don't get a central console that's gonna bother you at the knee level, but I meant that you don't have enough space for the feet, for your feet. It's actually pretty narrow. You don't get a place for your left foot, something to rest your foot on, and also the brake pedal and the accelerator are pretty small and one by the other. I mean, they could have placed them a bit more apart. Other than that, I don't know, it's a typical city car. The noise level is gonna be pretty high. You do feel the wind blowing even at city speeds. It's not such well insulated like a typical hatchback, if you want to compare it with something like that. But it's quite easy to drive. Now we can hear the noise inside the cabin at 50. Now I'm gonna go to about 90. This is it. I'm not gonna dare to drive any faster than that, because even at 90 the car feels quite wobbly, and with a bit of side wind I think that you could really feel uncomfortable speeding up at more than 90-100 kilometers per hour. Yeah, about the wobbliness, That's mainly because the car is so narrow. The wheels are not so far away from each other in any direction actually, and even though it's an electric car, the battery it's not that heavy, so the whole car actually is not that heavy, weighing at around 1 ton, and they actually managed to make it a bit comfortable actually. That's interesting for a city car, for a city runabout. It's more than enough. Now we're gonna have a rough patch with cobblestone. As you can see, even though I'm not going past 20-30 kilometers per hour, the car remains compliant. I mean, it's comfortable. It's all right for city driving. The same is the steering wheel. It's way lighter than I initially expected, and like with some other cars that I reviewed, it doesn't seem to get a bit more stiff even if you speed up the car. But it's all right for city driving, for maneuvering, for parking maneuvers. It's gonna be more than satisfying to operate. The controls, the brakes are nice and progressive. They're not overly grabby. It does help that it uses a bit of regenerative braking as well. So pretty much all in all, it's an easy car to control, especially inside the city. Other than that, there's really not much else to talk about. I mentioned the ranges. Obviously, if you charge it every day, it's gonna be more than enough to run your errands inside the city. By the way, it does charge at only something like 6.6 kilowatts on AC, and at around 35 on DC. At least this model, because it does have a CCS port. But yeah, I mean, for a everyday car, city car, it's more than enough. You do get some infotainment in here, you do get air conditioning. For, I don't know, 50 to 100 kilometers of driving, it's gonna be all right. I would consider something like this for a second car, something like I said, to only drive inside the city. That's pretty much it. As usual, thank you for watching. If you want to interact with me or with the cars that I reviewed, you can use the comment section or the social media, and hopefully I'll see you at my next review. Until next time, see ya. Later edit, because I forgot to tell you about something. I'm not gonna discuss the problems because it's quite a new car, even though it does have almost 12,000 kilometers on the clock. the owner didn't have any problem with it, so that's not gonna be a topic. But I forgot to tell you about the maintenance, because again, being an electric car, you don't really get any maintenance to do so. You only have to exchange the cabin filter, the pollen filter, but other than that, there are maybe some checks that the dealership is gonna do, and yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a quite little light car, so you won't have a problem with the brakes, with the tires as well. They're pretty inexpensive, and you won't need to change them so often. And yeah, that's pretty much it. An inexpensive car with a low running cost and sort of inexpensive maintenance. Catch you at my next one.